Hey guys, obviously you're probably wondering where we've been. Obviously the internet is littered with comments again, as Sam would say, of where's Rob and Sam? Where's Premier League Untitled? Well, we've been on hiatus, obviously, and we haven't been doing Premier League Untitled. We've been busy with other stuff, and we're back with brand new attitude.
And a brand new format, more
With a brand new...
importantly.
Oh yeah, that's very true. We are now doing this as a podcast, as you might have noticed. You can't see me and Sam on screen, but you can hear us. And all of our Premier League Untitled is available on SoundCloud now. Just search for As Yet Untitled and we'll be maybe the fourth one down.
Now, I know what you're all saying. I can hear it in the back of my head, and you're saying, oh God, I want to watch them on YouTube. That's what they primarily are, or supposedly are. They're YouTubers. How on earth are we going to continue? Well, Rob, I think you should tell them.
Well, this is going to be on YouTube anyway. We're going to be uploading it to YouTube. You'll still have a nice visual of all our wonderful social medias, as well as listen to our angelic voices. And be getting our opinions, as well as what we think is going to happen. And we will be updating you on the table of scores soon enough. And, oh, hello, background noise. And it doesn't matter if I'm dropping a lot, Sam. What I will say is, please have a look at our SoundCloud. Everything's up there now. And I spent all day doing it today. You should be very thankful. I'm looking to try and get it on Spotify and iTunes, but having difficulty at the moment. I'll be trying to get it through next time. Hopefully by the time this comes out they'll be available.
Yeah, and the beauty of SoundCloud is you don't have to have an account. Imagine you just... Well, I don't know, actually.
You can have an account, but you can just go straight on and listen to whatever you want. And they're available there.
Yeah, and I'm reading here on their website that it allows you to download on the App Store or Google Play, so you can take us on the go as well, and you don't need to have an internet connection. So how nifty is that?
Handy
Amazing.
dandy. But
Amazing.
to do that, you would have to download from SoundCloud, which is completely easy as well.
Just do it while you're sleeping or at home.
Just do it.
And then you've got us on the commute then, and what more could you want?
It's just an easy way to listen. Find time, make time, we'll be there.
Yeah, and this change has actually been brought about by some people, some regulars actually, who listen to us, and have put forward the idea of a podcast because, really we're talking, that's all we're doing. And as much as you love to see my beautiful face and Rob,
Not just my face, all of me.
It's ultimately a conversation about football, and that's what we love. Yeah. So get accustomed to seeing our, if you're viewing on YouTube, seeing our avatars a bit more, with a little bit of imagery that Rob will be cooking up. He's the master of editing the Premier League Untitled videos for YouTube. So give him a lot of thanks in the comments below. Tell him what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you'd like to see more of, because it helps us improve.
It certainly does.
Anyway, we set you the task of guessing our points tally as of, I believe it was the 1st of December, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
No.
It was what our score was on Boxing Day, but you have to get your score prediction in from the 1st of December.
So, luckily, we've come back in time to give you a bit of a sneak peek and an update. So, in the weeks that we've been away, quite the gap has emerged.
Oh, there's no need for that, mate.
Quite the gap has emerged. So, Rob has dutifully been phoning me up and saying, what do you think about this game? And I've been going, I don't know.
Actually, I must say, for week 12, I didn't quite get to you in time for Norwich versus Watford, which is why you've got a score prediction for the Liverpool-Man City match. as well as me.
That's right. We missed one, but otherwise we have been keeping up with it.
Yeah.
It's just life at the minute is busy, and as much as we love doing this, we're not at a level yet where we can dedicate all of our time and all of our effort to doing so. But with your support and your continued support, we hopefully will get there eventually, probably by the time we're 50.
And who knows, Liverpool might have won the Premier League by then.
Well, steady on. We're not sure about that one. So here we are, week 14 now. Crazy, week 14.
Well, we are currently in week 13. Next week is week 14.
Sorry, week 13. I'm getting ahead of myself already.
You certainly are.
So, when you last left us, was it week 10 they left us?
It was
at?
week 10, yeah. We'd given the predictions for week 10.
Okay, so the predictions at week 10, and we'll do a rundown of the points tally to give you the fullest that we can. So at the end of week 10, I was sitting on 27 points, whereas Rob was on 20.
Those were good times.
those were good times. Close
I remember
times.
them well.
So for week 11, all of 2 weeks, no, 3 weeks ago now, isn't it? Because of the international break.
Mm-hmm.
We had the task of predicting Bournemouth versus Man United. And by we, I mean me. And I predicted it would be 2-1 to Man United. Oh boy, was I wrong. Another shocking defeat, really. And I'm going to keep this short because we've got a lot of time to catch up on.
Mm-hmm.
But another shocking defeat to for Man United there. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is he still the one to lead them forward? I don't know. We'll continue. Then if you want to... Well,
so I don't actually remember much of this week. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but I had West Ham versus Newcastle, which I thought would finish 2-0 to West Ham, and Newcastle proved me wrong with a 3-2 victory. That's away from home as well.
Yeah, good game for them. And
well, either Sam's cut out or he's disappeared from life. He had Aston Villa.
I did cut out there for a second. I am back in the room.
Oi, oi.
Aston Villa versus Liverpool, I almost dead on. It was 2-0 I predicted, and the game finished 2-1.
And it's now become the new thing of Liverpool are going to win the league with help from VAR. And I actually don't think that's true at all, because frankly there was a foul on Mane in the box and it wasn't even given, so VAR isn't really helping us. And also in that game, Firmino was onside. That's all I'm going to say. His armpit was offside apparently, but nevertheless we'll move on. And
that's how I used to play the game, isn't
it? Sam's living in the year 2050, we're all stuck here in 2019.
Offside. Anyway, Here comes the slow descent into madness as an Arsenal fan. So we'll whiz through the rest of these. Rob predicted Arsenal to win against Wolves 2-0. Oh boy, was he wrong. VAR again on that one. It was 1-1 at the end of the score. So no points there. Mm-hmm. I predicted that Sheffield would beat Burnley 1-0. And I predicted that one because they went on to smash Burnley 3-0, which is really quite surprising. They're putting in a very good showing, Sheffield United. Surprisingly, for a team that 2 seasons ago were in League One. Then Rob predicted it would be a boring 0-0 draw between Brighton and Norwich. Which Brighton team is going to show up, everyone? This time it was Brighton winning 2-0, so 0 points there. I then predicted Man City would beat Southampton 4-0 after the previous week they were drubbed 9-0, was it?
Oh, Christ.
Yes,
by Leicester, wasn't it?
Yeah, 9-0 by Leicester, yeah. So I thought City would do the same. No, it was actually quite the cagey affair and ended 2-1. So I did get a point there. Rob then went on to predict that Chelsea would beat Watford 2-1, and he got it. Sorry, no. Chelsea would beat Watford 2-1. That's exactly what I said. Yeah. and he got 2 points for that and got it right on the nose. So well done him.
Cheers,
then
mate.
Crystal Palace versus Leicester. I predicted a 3-1 win for Leicester. Got the winner right, didn't get scoreline right, so that's 1-0. 2-0, and I got 1 point. And finally, for week 11, Rob predicted Tottenham to beat Everton 2-0. And sadly, it was a 1-1 draw for Spurs, meaning they didn't get, well, they got 1 point, and Rob gets nothing. So the total at the end of week 11 was 31 points for me and 22 points for Rob, so a gap of 9. I'll let Rob
those days.
talk you through all of week 12 here.
Okay, so as I said before, I didn't quite get to Sam in time for the Norwich versus Watford result. I think I called you at like 2:00 on the Saturday.
Yeah, you called me halfway through the game.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not letting you have that. But yes, the mighty Mooses came through and finally won a game. They won 2-0. And then I had the task of predicting Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, which I said would be 2-0 to Chelsea. And they proved me exactly right. I got 2 points for that.
You're getting quite good at predicting the Chelsea scores, aren't you? That's 2 weeks in a row that you got it bang on.
Man like Chelsea. And then you had Burnley versus West Ham, which you said was going to be 2-1, and Burnley won that 3-0, so you got a point for that. I thought the Newcastle versus Bournemouth match would finish 1-1, and Newcastle won 2-1 again. Funnily enough, Newcastle are doing a fantastic job of proving me wrong so far and winning when I think they're not going to. Moving on.
True.
You said Everton would beat Southampton 2-1, and they did exactly that. Funnily enough, to be fair, I think I remember that, and I was like, Everton didn't deserve it.
Yeah, you wanted them to score once more, didn't you? And didn't they have like a goal disallowed?
Yeah, they had a goal disallowed. That's right. Yeah. But anyway, moving on to Tottenham versus Sheffield United. I thought it was going to be 2-1 to Tottenham, and they drew 1-1, which means once again I had nothing. Then moving on to Leicester versus Arsenal. And you thought Leicester were going to win 4-1.
Yep, at this point I'd abandoned all hope.
Yeah, you were very upset at that stage and you were just frustrated with your team. But more on that later. And Leicester won 2-0. And that was at Leicester. And to be honest, that's not too bad at Leicester, I'd say.
No, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was terrible. To be fair, it was. I'm going to say it now. I thought it was a decent performance. But what's worrying me at the minute is the lack of goals up front. And with that, I'll let you move on.
Yeah, I'm sure more on that later. Moving on to my prediction of Man United versus Brighton. I thought Man United would win 2-0, and they won 3-1. So I got the goal different right, but not the scoreline. Then we went on to the Midlands derby, Wolves versus Aston Villa. Sam said it was going to be 2-0 to Wolves. It was 2-1 to Wolves, so you got another point. And it comes to the biggest game of the season, I'd say, so far. And we both had a guess at this one because, obviously, as I said, Norwich versus West Ham, I wouldn't get there fast enough. I predicted, because I'm so negative about my own team, that Liverpool would draw 2-2 with Man City. And
shouldn't I have had an extra point here?
Why?
Because you've got it down as 0.
No. 0's the one for me, and you've got a point up at the top
have you
with
added
Norwich.
An extra point on?
Yeah. If you look Norwich versus Watford, you've got a point there.
Ah, well done, well done.
See, okay. I think of everything, gang.
He's mastermind over there.
And Sam thought it'd be 3-2, and it turned out we won 3-1, which was a fantastic result on the day. Me and Sam, we went to the pub. Yeah, we did. Yeah. I was as cool as a cucumber the whole way through, wasn't I?
Surrounded by Man City fans, weren't you?
Just keeping very quiet to myself.
Shying in the corner. Little fist pumps when Liverpool scored. Like, just...
And every time,
and then shiftily looking around to make sure nobody.
Every time Man City had an attack that didn't work, ooh, close.
But anyway, cheering.
And at the end of that week, that brought Sam onto a massive 37 points and leaving me on a measly 25. Which brings us to this week.
This week. Wow. So the biggest news of the week, and probably the headliner for this episode, is Spurs have had enough. And they pulled the plug on Pochettino after 5.5 years.
I think so, yeah.
Shocking. Really shook the football world to its core. Because Pochettino, for those that aren't too familiar with football, led Tottenham to the Champions League final last season, and quite memorably too.
What happened there, mate? What happened in the end?
I wonder who won it. I'm not going to say.
Okay.
But it's quite a remarkable state of affairs that they sack Pochettino, who I rate as a manager. Fantastic.
Yep.
Defensively solid, knows where to go, definitely has an identity to his attack, tactically very sound, a real top draw manager. And frankly, I would put up most of Spurs' success in recent years down to him. Before that, they were on the rise with people like Andre Villas-Boas, and who was the one after him.
What a wonderful pronunciation that was, Sam.
Thank you.
Give me it again.
Andre Villas-Boas.
Oh.
And who was the one after him?
At Tottenham?
Oh, God, what was his name?
Oh, I don't know.
He's always really Tim Sherwood.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's right.
It was Tim Sherwood, and then I think they got Poch.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
But they had been on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, definitely.
So in a way, I was sad to go from Tottenham, but then, not less than 12 hours later, another bombshell from that side of North London, as they go and appoint Jose Mourinho. I'll let you start this off. Do you think that's a good call?
Well, the problem with Tottenham was they weren't winning anything. They were doing all right, very much coasting, apart from the Champions League final. But as we know, they lost, and everyone says Mourinho's a serial winner. However, his tactics aren't very up to date, shall we say, with modern football. So I would have kept Poch personally. I think he's a fantastic manager, and he's still quite young, so he's got plenty of learning to do. And look what he's doing already. But as people will say, people want to win cups, titles, and the Champions League, frankly. So I can see why they got rid of him.
Yeah, I think the really interesting thing is, even though there are so many Pochettino's reign at Tottenham, if you look at the last 12 months, especially their away form, they haven't won this year away.
Is that right?
That is right. They haven't won away. And they're averaging about a point a game. So that was very much relegation form. Which is why I think that they've chosen to pull the plug on it, and I imagine that's been exacerbated by his comments leading up to the Champions League final, saying that if he'd won it, he would have left. I mean, if Real Madrid had come knocking, I wouldn't have turned that down if I were him. Certainly not. It's a much bigger club. It's got a much better pedigree in my mind. It's a step up in your managerial career, and I think every manager that's out there today wants to manage one of the big clubs in the form of Real Madrid, Liverpool.
Cheers, mate. Put us before Barcelona,
Barcelona, obviously, Juventus, Bayern Munich, and Manchester United.
Man City,
Man City, and I would like to put Arsenal in that bracket. I know that we're not doing well at the minute, but I think it's a good job to take. Nonetheless, because of that history in Wenger, etc., etc. But anyway, so
the prediction for that match.
The prediction for that I had as 3-1 to Tottenham after weeks and weeks and weeks of malaise. typically when a club gets rid of their manager and gets a new one, bounce because all the players are basically playing for their careers at that club. They have to impress. And lo and behold, it was the case again. So I said it was 3-1. More worryingly for Jose Mourinho, it was 3-2. So I get a point there.
Did you watch the game at all?
I did. I watched bits of it. I thought that they looked, like their usual selves going forward, but there was something amiss in the defence.
I thought that West Ham were frankly really lucky to get anything from that.
Say that again?
I thought West Ham were lucky to get any type of goal because they played terribly. They got, I think it was, as soon as Antonio came on, he changed the game up, I'd say. And then the corner was just poor defence, to be honest. But
yeah, and we should mention as well, you're right to say that West Ham didn't really play well. And it seems to be going wrong for them under Manuel. I don't know. I was listening to another radio on TalkSport, and this West Ham fan was saying that even though results are bad at the minute, he doesn't want to sack Pellegrini. Because his club, West Ham, used to pride themselves on the fact that they'd employed the least amount of managers in the last 100 years or whatever. And he views it as loyalty, but I think the game changed now. You can't, there's not that patience and persistence because there's so much money at stake.
Yeah.
I think he's walking a tightrope, I must say.
Well, to be honest, why would you want that record if your club's not doing well? Like, are you going to keep the manager just for the sake of keeping that record? No, you're not.
Yeah, if you're staring down the barrel of relegation,
exactly.
You're going to chuck him out. So, if I were West Ham fans, I would be worrying. And, they're a club that pay off the Olympic Stadium that they've taken recently. So, if I were them, I would be looking to get rid of Pellegrini. I think he's had his time.
Yeah. I can agree with that and see why.
Yeah.
Moving on then to Arsenal versus Southampton. I will give my prediction first, saying I thought you'd win this 2-0.
Yep.
And you drew it 2-2. And I'd frankly like to put the statement out there. I thought you were lucky.
Say that again?
I thought you were lucky to get 2-2, to be honest.
Yes,
watching it
I
on
agree with
Match
you.
of the Day, I thought you got absolutely peppered. And Southampton just wasted their chances. So, shooting practice for them, I think. But obviously, being the Arsenal fan, I'll let you have your say on this.
Well, we've just talked about Pochettino leaving Spurs, and I'm the only Arsenal fan that will be saying, bring him to North London, but the good side of North London. If he can do that job at Tottenham and do it so well, with frankly, a squad and a club that should be aiming for the top 6, but consistently he got them the top 4, bring him into Arsenal, where really we should be getting the top 4 at least, if not higher.
Well, what I will say is Poch took over Tottenham at a point where Tottenham were a lot worse than where you are now, I'd say.
Yes.
And it's whether he can, instead of being a manager that brings a team from nothing, can he be a team that makes a big club bigger?
Well, I think, I'm sure we're going to get comments about how I wanted Jose Mourinho to be national manager. And frankly, that was in desperation. But now, that Pochettino is on the market, I think it's a no-brainer. He's already in London. He's already got a proven track record in the Premier League. Sign him up.
And what I will say as well, he was not happy that he got the sack. That'll surely put a fire in his belly, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think so too, hopefully. But to our current, I don't think it's the players that are the problem, if I'm brutally honest, at Arsenal. I think it's the manager. you've got the best ball, or one of the best ball-winning midfielders in Europe in the form of Lucas Torreira in your midfield. You've got Matteo Guendouzi, who, frankly, this is why I wish we'd never got Sven Mislintat. He's the one that uncovered Guendouzi, and he's, PFA Young Player of the Year or whatever nominee this year. You've got Aubameyang, you've got Lacazette, you've got Pepe, who I think would benefit from somebody who gives him, more confidence, because more often than not, Pepe is, given the hook and told to get on the bench.
I was going to say, I don't know why he's starting on the bench. Every time he comes on, he looks like he's going to do something.
Yeah, you kind of need to give him the service. The biggest thing has been Emery trying to stand off with Ozil.
Yeah.
And having to walk back from that with the Granit Xhaka thing that's happened recently as well. And suddenly he's starting Ozil every game. As much as I agree that Ozil is like the cherry on top of the cake, he is creative, and at the minute we are, I'd much rather see Ozil in the number 10 role than I would Lucas Torreira.
Yeah.
Torreira is not a creative midfielder; he's a deep-lying midfielder, and that's where he should be. Mm-hmm. I think Bellerin is Bellerin. I think he's good enough to play for us. He may not be the best right back in the league, but he's a pretty good one. Because I know you don't like him.
I'd say he's definitely in the top 10, but that's not really saying much, is it? I'd even put him in the top 5, even the top 5.
Yeah, I think Man City have 2 of 5 in Kyle Walker and João Cancelo. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold's in that description as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know who the Chelsea right back is at the minute. Is it
Anderson or Emerson, or is he left? I don't know.
I don't rate him.
No, I don't either.
And the only other one I can think of is Kyle Walker-Peters.
Mm-hmm.
At Tottenham.
Yeah. He's not doing great, I don't think. I don't even remember him playing this weekend.
Wan-Bissaka.
Oh yeah, good shout.
Wan-Bissaka, so top 5, top 6 maybe for Bellerin.
Yeah.
Which I think.
I dropped a mic, I think.
And no, it was if you want to know, it was a fruit bowl.
Oh.
I know. Eat your greens, kids. I think there's just too much controversy going on at the minute. And to wrap it up, I think Xhaka should be gone. I don't think he's ever been good enough for us. And telling the fans to fuck off, pardon my French, is frankly, you can't come back from that.
No, there's just,
we're the people that pay your wages, mate. You need to, we've been patient with you now for 3 or 4 years, and you just haven't delivered.
Frankly, show some damn respect.
Yeah, you need to go.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing he's going to go in January to Newcastle, which would be a good signing for Newcastle, on loan, I hear. And I just want him out of the club.
Yeah. And I completely understand that, to be honest.
Similarly with Emery, I think this game against Southampton was exemplary of why he needs to go. During this game, he tried 3 different formations. He made 3 changes that, frankly, I don't understand what they were for.
He brought Pepe on, and that had an impact. Or did Pepe start this match?
No, he didn't start the match. He came on, and so did Martinelli. And by the way,
good.
Martinelli is the shining star of this season. He was the one that gave the assist to Lacazette for the equaliser in the 95th minute. So props to Martinelli. He's a real player.
Yeah.
It shows the state of affairs when you start the game with 7 defensive players on the pitch.
Yeah.
And Southampton score Southampton score within 7 minutes.
Hmm.
There's just something amiss, and he needs to go.
I think you definitely need to rework your defensive tactics. I don't think it's the players. I definitely think it's a tactical problem because, as we've said on the show previously, you have so many defensive issues, and you look at the players. Socrates.
He's not the best centre back, but he's not as bad as this.
No, exactly, and
same with David Luiz. He's not the best.
As you were saying before, you've got Guendouzi and Torreira in front of them, who are very defensive-minded players. So that's essentially a spine of four. And then on the sides, you've got Bellerin and Tierney, Tierney, I can't really say much. I don't think he's had long enough to prove himself. But Bellerin's a good player. So I don't know.
The goalkeeper, mate.
Yeah, Leno's sick.
Bayern Munich is sniffing around Leno.
And I'm not surprised.
It's not the players. It's definitely not the players.
No, I agree.
It's Emery. But anyway, we spent too long on.
Can we move on, please?
yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay. Brighton versus Leicester. This was yours again.
Yeah, I predicted this would be a Leicester 3-1 win, and it turned out to be a 2-0 win for Leicester. Bloody strong team this is. I've been impressed with them every week since we last talked.
Leicester on fire.
I think Brendan Rodgers.
They've won their last 5 games now.
Yeah. I really do have to say, I think Brendan Rodgers would be another shout to replace Emery. Going back to that, I'd love him.
He's only just started at Leicester, though, hasn't he? So you'd have to
and he's
pay
got
them
£40
a lot
million
of money.
release.
Oof.
I'd pay it, frankly.
Really?
Yeah, I would pay it.
Well, I mean, speaking from experience, Brendan Rodgers does wonders to your club. Not the most defensively sound manager, but absolutely fantastic for getting youth products through, and you've got plenty of them coming through. Yeah,
I think he's learnt more since going up to the Scottish League and managing Celtic. I think he's matured as and frankly, I think he gets a bit of from the Liverpool fans. No offense, because he was. If it wasn't for Gerrard slipping against Chelsea, you guys would have won the title that season. And then it would have been a completely different story. Yeah. So I do think he is I think he's a top draw manager that just the luck wasn't with him that day.
I don't think I've ever given my opinion on this. I don't blame Gerrard. I don't think it came down to that slip for that title. We were 9 points clear with 6 to go. And we didn't win the league. That's like ridiculous. Why we should have won it, and we ballsed it up. It was completely mentality of players. I think it was them going into each match thinking they're going to win, and then being surprised when we conceded essentially. And to be honest, that is down to the manager of not keeping the players level-headed. But I think you're right in saying since he went to Scotland, he has gotten to that side because Celtic are the best in Scotland, and he would have had bags of experience keeping them level-headed for each game.
Yeah. In other terms for Leicester, I think Vardy is renaissance season. It's almost it is reminiscent of showed won the.
He's top goal scorer this season with 12 so far.
Yeah,
Frankly,
it's
after
impressive.
13 is amazing,
Yep. I think James Maddison is a top quality player, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him.
I think it depends on Leicester. If they can get Champions League football, why would he leave?
Yeah.
I think they'd have to give him a significant boost to his wages.
It's the same with Tielemans, man. I think he's a draw player, and he'll be snapped up by a bigger club sooner or later. And surprisingly and annoyingly, Soyuncu, he's somebody that Arsenal were looking at under Arsene Wenger, and we opted not to. He's gone to Leicester, and he looks solid as a rock.
Who was that? Sorry,
Soyuncu.
Yes, yes. Sorry, you cut out a little bit, but yeah, yeah, I agree. He's been decent for them.
Yeah. So yeah, another balls up by my club. To go for the theme there. So moving on. Watford versus Burnley. Ooh.
And I said this was going to be a 2-1 to Burnley, and Burnley pulled it out of the hat and won 3-0. Those mighty Mooses looking pretty blunt.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the Malaysed. They're a club that I'm worrying about. Relegation form going on
Certainly
here. I don't know what the table is.
They are
rock bottom.
They certainly are. Not having a great time this season. Only on 8 points, but one win will get them out of the. One win if they won 15-0 would get them out of the bottom three. But it's just that close at the bottom so far, so there's still everything to play for.
There is, but there's not many signs of life there, to be fair. So then I got Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Boom! Headshot. 2-1 I predicted, and 2-1 it was.
Just about,
Another 2 points in the bag from me there. Liverpool doing what they need to win the title, grinding out these results.
Yeah.
And that's your bogey team as well.
Yes, I think I was saying to you the night before, I was like, if we draw, I'd be happy with a draw. Because going away to Crystal Palace is always a nightmare for us. And, well, I was just nervous, naturally. I hate Crystal Palace, I hate playing them so much. And I think we were lucky to win it. I don't think the VAR decision was correct. I don't think Lovren was fouled in the build-up to their first or second goal. I can't remember. However, if you watched it on Match of the Day, Zaha had a chance to literally clinch the 2-2 late on in the game, and he blazed it over the bar. And you look at it, and he wants to go to a top club, and with finishing like that, you've just got to put them away.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy with the win. Lucky to get it. That's all, really.
Yep. As I say, you're doing what you need to.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's Leicester. Leicester are the nearest to you.
Yeah,
Crazy.
8 points behind, and then Man City 9 points behind.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think you're very much in the driving seat.
Yeah. Well, you'd say if we're that ahead by Christmas, it's ours to lose at that stage.
Yes.
But we're not there yet, so we can't say that. Next was Bournemouth versus Wolves. For you, I believe. Is that right? No, it was for me. I said it was going to be 2-2, and Wolves won 2-1.
Do you know what? For a club that started this season picking up draw after draw after draw after, if you remember.
Yeah.
They have really turned a corner.
Yeah.
So much so that they're now sitting pretty in fifth, ahead of the likes of Arsenal, Man United, Tottenham, the big hitters, really. So, for a club that a lot of people were writing off this season, ourselves included, because of the management of not just the Premier League, but also the Europa League, and whether they had the squad depth, they're doing well.
What I will say is Francis got sent off early on after 37 minutes, which will have been a boost to them. But arguably, they scored after Francis got sent off, and Wolves scored both of theirs before Francis got sent off. So
I don't know, man. I think they're a good team, and I think Nuno Espirito Santo is a fantastic manager. And bearing in mind, Wolves are kind of like our local team here, I have to say it makes me happy to see them doing so well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm almost tempted to switch my allegiance, but I'm not a Glory supporter, so I will not.
Well, you're still ahead of them in the table, aren't you?
No, they're fifth.
So they are.
They're fifth, and
well,
we're
you're only a point behind them, so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's whether we can break into that top four and beat Chelsea. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting match because it's the other manager that I'd say is in line for the sack. But it's your match. You take us through it.
Well, I have to agree with you. I know an Everton fan, very, very closely, and he's livid, and he has been for some time now. You know, the amount of money that they're throwing around buying players like Andre Gomez, you know, big players, or not big players, but well-established players.
Players with suitable reputation.
Yeah, they've got a decent young striker, in my opinion, in the form of Calvert-Lewin.
And they've got Richarlison on the wing as well.
Say that again?
Richarlison on the wing,
Yeah, Richarlison, great player.
I don't think he's been performing this season though.
No, but I feel like they are very much in trouble. At Everton, at Goodison, I was expecting them to win. I predicted a 1-0. I said at Everton, at Goodison, I was expecting them to win at 1-0.
Yep.
But Norwich turned them over, and frankly, this is a game Everton should have won. Norwich 18th at the minute. Everton are in 15th. There's 4 points between them. I think you're right. If I was a betting man, I would be betting Unai Emery or I don't even know what his name is. Marco Silva. Yeah. To be sacked next.
As long as he lasts another 2 weeks, I don't mind. Because we play them in 2 weeks, and if he's still the manager, I imagine we'll get a good result against them, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I think that Emery is next on the chopping block, if I'm honest. But he won't be far behind. So then the cracker, really, and you're saving grace this week.
Well, so far, you're
saving grace. Man City versus Chelsea.
I said they'd win 2-1, and that's exactly what they did. I was actually very frightened at the end of the match because Sterling had a goal disallowed because he was, I don't know, a toenail offside.
And he actually wasn't, though. If you see, he tweeted a frame. The Chelsea defender, if you're going on any part of the body being head, he is further back than Sterling is. So it should have been allowed. Should have been allowed.
They obviously knew I was watching and wanted me to stay in the race.
Also, while we're on VAR, my mind answering, but fuck VAR for disallowing us a clear penalty against.
I don't remember seeing it on Match of the Day, so I just thought it was nothing, you know.
No, it cost us one there, and it cost us one against Sheffield United. A stonewall penalty that should have been given to us, but no, we haven't. Anyway, sorry, that's my emotional side. Apparently, this was a really good game, City versus Chelsea.
Yeah, there was plenty of chances. It was pretty high tempo the whole way through, to be fair. And I thought, looking at it, Chelsea were a bit unlucky, but it just comes down to putting those chances away. They had about the same chances as City, but City were more clinical on the day, so they got the win. And Sterling had that disallowed, which probably shouldn't, as you say.
And then, for a very long episode, we're coming to the final match that we have a score from, which was today's match of Sheffield United versus Manchester United, for those uninitiated. So I predicted this one would be a 2-1 win for Sheffield United. They have been doing exceedingly well for a club that has just come up. You know, they're doing a Wolves.
Yeah, they're playing
Another
fantastic.
Midlands. Yeah, they are. And I thought it was going to go that way. Sheffield had a 2-0 lead up until the 70th minute. I was following it. Yeah, I was following it. They were saying Man United lethargic. They weren't there. They weren't producing anything. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, they score 3 goals in like 8 minutes.
Literally, I was watching it, and United was so boring. It was Sheffield United had everything, and then I think his name's Brandon Williams, the young left back, just scored a cracker of a goal. To be fair, right foot half volley into the bottom right, and I think that switched up their mentality, almost like the goal gave them a bit of belief.
Yeah, something seemed to have sparked them into life. But so from 2-0 down, it went to 3-2, and then last gasp. Sheffield get a third.
I think it was from a corner, or a cross at least. Which is what they were talking about in the build-up. I
tell you what, though, that takes some confidence, doesn't it, and some character from Sheffield United.
Going back behind them in the last couple of minutes to drag out a draw.
Yeah, grind it out. It shows a lot of experience and a lot of character. That, you know. But again, here we are with another manager. I've just seen something in my timeline showing Ed Woodward and Sir Alex Ferguson arguing in the stands. How long do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's? Because again, he's one that I think
they could easily bring Pochettino into that team. And I think it is going to be a bit of a fight for Pochettino, because he's a great manager, and you'd be mad not to take him in the form that your manager and United's manager are in. Even Everton's manager.
Yeah, like I've also heard Bayern Munich are sniffing.
Yeah, and that would probably be the obvious choice for him. That would be the easiest job, I would have thought. To go into, and it means that he doesn't have to deal with the English Premier League anymore. But it's what he's suited to, I guess. He'll make a decision at some point. I don't think he's going to be unemployed for long, is what I think we can both agree on.
Yeah, I think as soon as we hear somebody fired, Emery, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or whoever, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the announcement that Pochettino's taken their place.
What I would say... Sorry, go on.
Well, I'm just praying, I'm crossing everything, that we are the ones to get him, because he's going to make a big difference to United if he goes there.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is I think whoever's going to sign him will do what Spurs has done, and obviously they agreed terms with the next manager before sacking the one that they've got. Because Mourinho was back in straight as a flash. There's no way that wasn't agreed before Pochettino got the sack.
Yeah.
Or I don't believe so anyway.
No. Apparently the negotiations for Mourinho had been going on for...
Yeah, I can believe that it was going on for a while before that. But anyway, to our last game of this week, which has not been aired yet.
We can't talk about it. That'll be an added one for next week. So we will see. Or actually, when Rob, for those on SoundCloud, you'll just get this straight away. But for those of you that are listening on YouTube, you may get an updated version where Aston Villa versus Newcastle is discussed.
Yeah, I'll be sure to put in for this week's anyway the result and the points tally. But I can tell you the prediction now. I think Aston Villa are going to beat Newcastle 2-1.
Now, you see, after everything we've talked through, so stupid of you. Because you've bet against Newcastle for 2 weeks and they've proved you wrong on both occasions.
I can't change it now, can I?
No, it's locked in. It's locked in, but you're going to look like a fool.
Hello guys, it's Rob here. Obviously I said I was going to give my reaction to the Aston Villa match versus Newcastle, that is. And to be honest, I don't think there's many surprises there. I thought they'd win 2-1, as you heard not so long ago. And Aston Villa kind of proved me right, winning 2-0. They seem to be in dominant for the majority of the match. Obviously, Villa are putting an end to a run of 3 successive Premier League defeats, which must be nice for the Villa fans. Newcastle had a couple of chances here and there, but I definitely think Villa deserved the match. And to be fair, the first goal, the free kick, the direct free kick that went round the wall to the left where the keeper really should have gotten to, I thought. But that's football, isn't it? And then the other free kick delivered into the 6-yard box, slotted home. Good play from Villa. Other than that, they didn't really have anything. A couple of shots from the edge of the box, but nothing that stuck. But anyway, on with the rest of the show.
So, now we will play our little radio jingle. Shut up, this is where the jingle goes in.
I'm sorry. On to week 14, I'm guessing you're going to say.
Yeah, we're going to
put actually, what I will say... Actually, no, ignore me. Carry on, sorry.
So we go into week 14's... So, here we go. Newcastle versus Man. And do I underestimate Newcastle, or do I go with Man City?
It's at the tune.
It is at the tune, but I still think, even if Newcastle beat Aston Villa tomorrow, I can't look past Man City with this one, and I think it's going to be 3-1. I'm going to go for a 3-1 there.
Fair enough.
I am going to type that in. Oh no, he's done it.
I'm beating you to it. And then next comes Liverpool versus Brighton, that I cannot see us losing. And this is at Liverpool, at Anfield.
Which Brighton team's going to turn up?
The one that's going to lose to Liverpool, that's all I'm going to say. And, make me look a fool, Brighton, I dare you. I think Liverpool will win this 3-1. Yeah, because we don't do clean sheets at Liverpool. Anyway, on to Burnley versus Crystal Palace for you.
Burnley versus Crystal Palace.
Burnley coming off a 3-0 win, Crystal Palace losing 2-1, but playing very well.
It's actually been 2 3-0 wins for.
Is that right? Yeah, they beat. Is that right?
They beat West Ham 3-0,
yes,
and they beat Watford 3-0. And then they got beat 3-0 by Sheffield United the week before. So, with that in mind, I think I'm 3-0 Crystal Palace.
3-0 Crystal Palace?
Yeah, I think they've got... Actually, let me have...
Oh, it's already in, mate.
Yeah, I've said that now. I've said it now.
I'll let you change it if you want to change it.
No, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that. 3-0.
Okay. All right.
That's how we play. I shouldn't have opened my mouth.
And then I have Chelsea versus West Ham. I think
the former West London derby.
I'm going to be bold with this one. I'm going to say this is going to finish 4-1 to Chelsea.
I can see why you said it.
Chelsea are coming off the back of a loss to Man City, and I think they played ever so well in that. And I think if they play that type of football against West Ham are going to concede plenty. But I think Pellegrini's got to say something to them, so I think they might get 1.
Yeah. Moving on to Tottenham versus Bournemouth. Mid-table class. 10th plays 11th. There's only a point between them. So I'm going to continue with my new manager bounce. It's at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I think it's going to be 3-0 Tottenham.
Okay, lovely. And I think this is the worst one to have to predict. Southampton versus Watford.
I know who I'd go.
19th versus 20th.
Yeah.
And I think if Southampton play like they played against you, they will smash Watford.
Exactly.
Uh,
I think this is really bad news for
yeah.
because it's just going to cement them at the bottom of the, frankly.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say Southampton are gonna win 3-0. I think if they can finish their chances, they'll smash them.
Oh God. So talking about the relegation zone, we have got Norwich, who are in the relegation zone with 10 points, and we have got 18 points, and we are in 8th as this stands this week, which is very hard to stomach.
Just for a little bit of reference, that's under half the points that Liverpool have already.
I know.
Please carry on, Sam.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? So I like to think we'd win, but we played another relegation team this week and we got our asses handed to us. So I don't know what to say. Norwich like to attack. They're not very good in the defence, but they like to attack.
Yeah.
And we don't like to defend, and at the minute we don't like. So I don't know what to say.
I'm gonna have to push you for a scoreline, Sam.
I think it's 3-2 Norwich.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
All right. And I get Wolves versus Sheffield United now. I'm going to explain my thought process behind this.
This is a tasty one. I don't know.
This is a tasty one.
Wolves are playing 6th.
Yeah, Wolves are going to be playing midweek, which they haven't for a while. Which is why I think their results have been a little bit better than usual. And I still think they're going to be stunted by that Europa League mid-game on Thursday, I believe. So I'm going to say Sheffield United are going to win this 2-1.
I can see the logic.
Thank you.
I can see the logic.
Thank you.
Leicester versus Everton. I feel like this one's a gimme. It's at Leicester as well. I could see him punishing Leicester here. Punishing Everton here. I think it's going to be 4-1. I'm going to go for a high.
4-1 to Leicester. Yeah. Okay. And finally, I get Man United versus Aston Villa at United. This is a bit of a hard one to gauge because we haven't seen Villa from this week, but United will have the midweek match in the Europa League as well. So I'm going to say this is going to finish 2-2. Yeah. Okay. There's the predictions for next week, guys.
Back on track.
Back on track. And something that we have been requested of to round out the audio file, I guess you'd call it now.
No, video and audio.
We give you both, people, with a channel that keeps on giving. I would like friends. Your top 6 predictions and your bottom 3 predictions, Sam.
For the end of the
season.
Season. Oh boy.
Let's
top
start
6.
Yeah, start with top 6.
Okay, so top 6. I think you're going to win the Premier League.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be Liverpool first. I think, although Leicester are putting in a good performance now, I don't think they'll play for the entire season. So I think it's going to be Man City in 2nd. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Chelsea 3rd.
Okay. Really? Above Leicester?
Yeah. Okay. My heart says Arsenal 4th. My head says Leicester. It's a difficult catch.
Okay.
I'm going to say Leicester 4th.
Okay. So essentially, the top 4 now just reworked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I'm going to put Arsenal in fifth,
Okay.
Tottenham in sixth.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Wolves in seventh.
Okay.
Man United in eighth.
Are you going through the whole table?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do top 8 and bottom 3 then. Because it's just going to be get really confusing otherwise.
Yeah, and sorry, then my bottom are going to be Watford in 20th.
Yeah.
I think they're sank.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Southampton too.
Yeah, I can see it happening.
I think Southampton in 18th.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to play a wild card, and I'm going to say
And you
in
say
19th.
Who in
West
19th?
Ham.
West Ham.
In 19th.
Very interesting. Well, I'll get to mine in a minute. But we'll start with my top 8. I still think that Man City will win the league. And I say that because Pep, as a mental disciplinarian, is fantastic at his job. And I think we'll still lose our heads at the last minute and drop the ball, literally, and fall into second. I think Leicester will still be in the top 4, but I agree with you. I think they'll drop off to 4th, and I'll have Chelsea in 3rd. I think Wolves will get 5th and stay in the Europa League. I think Burnley will get 6th because they've got no competitions to worry about, and I can't see Arsenal getting up there, to be honest with you, with current form. I think if you get a different manager, it can change everything. But if you stick with Emery, I don't see you finishing above 6th. 6th Burnley, I said, didn't I? 7th, I do think you'll come 7th. And I think United will be 8th.
So we're agreed that United will be 8th, but you don't think Tottenham are going to...
No. I think Mourinho's got more of a job on his hand than he thinks. I think he'll grind out and do the bare minimum, and this season's a write-off for Spurs already. I don't think they're expecting him to get anywhere near the top 4 this season. But it's only to 5th. It's Tottenham can go all the way to 5th with 1 win if results go their way. But the gap from the top 4 to 5th is already at 7 points, and that is going to be a hell of a climb for any teams outside the top 4. But anyway, back to the bottom 3. I think I agree in Watford coming last. I don't think any manager can come in and save them. Despite them having some pretty good players in Deulofeu and Doucouré and
Danny Welbeck.
Danny Ings, mate. Oh no, he plays for Southampton, my bad. I also think I agree with you that West Ham will finish 19th because I think they'll fire Pellegrini and bring in a manager who just won't be able to deal with the Premier League, and they'll just drop even more points because they're not going to get Pochettino, are they? They haven't got the
no.
They haven't got the finances or the drive, I'd say, either. And I think Southampton will finish 18th.
So we're agreed. We're agreed
on the bottom 3,
and our bottom 3, but it's just the other 8, 5th to 8th that we differ. Although we both have Man United.
Yeah, I really think whoever gets Pochettino, and I do think it's going to be out of you and Man United, who gets him, will finish one above the other, essentially.
Yeah, I think whoever gets Poch has a chance to get into the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
But until that happens, I can't predict it, and
Yeah.
I just have to go off current form.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think one that we can definitely say now is Watford are going down, and they're not going to be able to get a manager in or even the quality of player needed in January, and sad to see really, because they're not going to be able to keep their players if they go down. Like Deulofeu's not going to stay, is he?
I think they're about as a club.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been coming. They're nowhere near where they were.
Yeah. But anyway, that about rounds us off, really, doesn't it?
It does. So there you go. Another week of Premier League. Listen.
You've cut out a bit there, mate.
I said another week of Premier League Untitled to listen while you work. We've thoroughly enjoyed the new format, and I hope that you go to our SoundCloud. Link will be in the description of our YouTube page.
It certainly will.
And go and follow us there.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, we've got everything there from the previous weeks that you can go and listen to. This is actually the longest Premier League Untitled that we have put out because we've had to cover so much ground. So you can listen to it in all of its SoundCloud, but if you want to see a little bit more of us in your day, you can go to YouTube as per usual. You can listen to Rob. Sorry.
That wasn't me, it was John.
You can listen to John sneeze. He's been there in the background, like.
He's been holding that in for an hour and 5 minutes, he has.
But he's always watching, ladies and gentlemen. He's always watching.
Certainly is.
So you can go to our YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it who are into, so they can join the party, join the debate. We would like to know what your top 4 and
top 8.
Top 8. Let's go top 8. Top 8 and relegation 3 are. So if you could comment below, or I don't know whether you can comment on SoundCloud.
I don't think you can comment on SoundCloud, but you can leave us a
well,
like.
if that's the case, then you've got to go to our YouTube and comment below. And while you're there, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Tell all your friends. And we will be back same time next week.
We certainly will.
So thank you for listening, and well done for
Hold on.
It's not the end.
It's not the end, because we were actually picked up on this, because last time we did a Premier League Untitled, we forgot to advertise a certain something, and we were much picked at in the comments. We were slated. And what I will say is Sam has been working very hard on this, and he's come up with some new concepts. How about you tell them all about it, Sam?
Yeah, so another thing that you can go and get enough of As Yet Untitled, which, I mean, why? I can understand why you can't get enough of it. Get enough of me anyway. So if you go into our description in our YouTube channel, and for this video, you will see a link to our Teespring, which is a beautiful platform where we design T-shirts. The company there, Teespring, prints them and sends it to you. Some of the money is split 50-50, basically. Mm-hmm. So there we have a couple of T-shirt designs already, featuring our cool Art Deco inspired logo that I've put together myself.
Beautiful.
And I am playing with a couple of other ideas as well, and we will be putting out more and more channel, not only financially but representing us wherever you are in the world. Hop over to there and order yourself one. They ship from the US and Europe, and we will be showing some of them in the video now.
Here they come.
Look
and here's a beautiful one. This is a lovely one. This is a lovely piece right here.
Oh, this looks great.
If you're on SoundCloud, this is going to make absolutely no sense to you.
just imagine it. Use your mind's eye.
They're floating across the screen now.
Oh, shimmering in the pale moonlight.
But anyway, to round us off, thank you very much for listening,
I'm
watching,
gonna say
and
it again.
looking.
Tell us your top 8 and your bottom 3 below. Please like, share, subscribe, share it with your friends, please. We really, really like it when you help us out, and we love talking to you and responding to you in the comment section. But until next week, I have been Sam.
And I have been Rob.
And we will catch you next time.
Bye-bye, guys.